Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
Most happy married couples have one thing in common. They want to see their young friends have happy marriages too. Sometimes, when they strongly wish for this and the situation seems good, they try to help. They may give advice to young people who are not sure about marriage. They may also help make the way clear so the young people can make their decision and act on it. Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy had this kind wish. They cared very much for both people involved, especially for the younger one. Because of this, they helped to arrange an engagement between Georgiana Darcy and Colonel Fitzwilliam. Georgiana was 20 years old. She had lived with her brother for the 3.5 years he had been married. She was quiet, shy, and not very confident. She was also slow to make new friends. To her, Colonel Fitzwilliam was her closest friend after her brother. He was older than her, which made her feel even more that she could trust him. She agreed to the engagement with quiet happiness, but asked Elizabeth not to talk about marriage yet. "Elizabeth, when I get married, will I have to stay at Rosings without you?" she asked. When Elizabeth said that might happen, Georgiana felt worried. She did not want to think too much about the future. She wanted to stay with her brother and enjoy his love and protection for a little longer. Lady Catherine de Bourgh said she was not happy about the engagement. She was upset because Darcy had not asked for her advice before making the decision. But in truth, she was pleased. She thought it was a very good match between her nephew and niece. Soon, she forgot her anger and told everyone she was happy to see such a good marriage in the Darcy family. One morning in April, 6 months after the engagement, Mr. and Mrs. Darcy were sitting in the library at Pemberley. Their 2 children, a handsome 2-year-old boy and a baby girl, had just been taken upstairs after playing happily with their parents. Elizabeth and Darcy were making plans for the day. "Where are Georgiana and Fitzwilliam?" Darcy asked. "I thought they were going to ride horses together, but they said they would rather wait until 12 o'clock so I could go with them." "They were walking on the terrace, but Georgiana has gone inside now," Elizabeth said, looking out the window. She sat next to her husband and spoke seriously. "Do you think they are really happy about their engagement?" "I have watched them closely for some days. I am sure that Georgiana is not happy." Mr. Darcy looked surprised and did not believe what Elizabeth was saying. "What idea have you got in your head, Elizabeth?" "No, I have never thought anything like that. You must be wrong." "I don't think so," said Elizabeth. "Since he has been staying here this time, their relationship is not as easy and natural as before. I have also seen other signs. I believe they would both feel relieved if they were free." Darcy looked serious. "I am sorry to hear that, Elizabeth," he said. "But maybe you are thinking too much about something small. When we first agreed to the engagement, I thought they were perfect for each other. I still think so." "What has Georgiana said to you?" "She has said nothing. But I know her very well, and I can see that she is not happy. She is nervous and restless. She does not act like herself. She tries to avoid being alone with Robert. She does not want to talk about her future. You must have noticed what happened yesterday when she almost cried and asked not to go with us to Bath next week. That is just silly. There is no reason why she should be more afraid of Aunt Catherine now than before. There is a reason. She does not want to hear people talk about her wedding as if it is coming very soon. She does not want people to say she and Robert are the perfect couple. You know how your aunt always talks about that. Darcy gave a small smile, then stood up and walked around the room. If you're right, Elizabeth and Georgiana is unhappy about this marriage, then of course it cannot happen. But I will be very sad about it. Also, I do not know how to ask Fitzwilliam to let her go. He is a very good man, but he might feel hurt if, after 6 months, he is left behind for what looks like just a young girl changing her mind. I don't think he would be angry, Elizabeth said. They would both feel sad that they could not make each other happy. But I think that if we knew how Fitzwilliam really feels, we would see that he feels the same as Georgiana. In 6 months, they have had time to think and understand what this engagement means for both of them. You're making a lot of guesses, Elizabeth. I cannot believe that Fitzwilliam does not want this marriage. He is too kind and too good to show it, Elizabeth said. But I feel sure that he only thinks of Georgiana as a friend or a sister, nothing more. Do you remember when we were engaged, Darcy? And when Bingley and Jane were engaged, she added playfully. My dear, I remember it all with great happiness. But you know, not everyone shows their feelings the same way. Fitzwilliam is older than me, and he was never very emotional. Georgiana is also more serious than my Elizabeth. I know they are not the type to be carried away by their feelings, as Mr. Collins would say, Elizabeth said with a smile. But even if we think about Fitzwilliam's age and Georgiana's serious nature, this is not the same. I am sure they do not feel the deep happiness that engaged people should feel. I think they would be much happier if they were each engaged to the right person. Do you mean that Georgiana has met someone else she likes more? Darcy asked quickly. Elizabeth shook her head firmly. Her husband sat in silence for a few minutes, thinking deeply. Finally, he looked up and said, You should talk to Georgiana, Elizabeth. If what you say is true, we will speak to Fitzwilliam together. Ending an engagement is a very serious decision, and we must think carefully. Elizabeth agreed and added, Please, dear Darcy, if the engagement ends, do not be angry with Georgiana. It is not her fault that she does not love Fitzwilliam enough. It will already be hard for her to break the engagement and know that she has disappointed you. I will try not to be angry, Elizabeth, Darcy said. But you know how much I want Georgiana to have a safe and good future, and this marriage would have been perfect for her. We both wanted it so much that I think we made a mistake about their true feelings, Elizabeth said. Since we helped bring them together, we must also take responsibility for ending it. Your aunt will not let us forget that, will she, Darcy? That is true, Darcy replied. It is unfortunate that so many people already know about the engagement. But if Georgiana does not want to go to Bath, she can stay here. Elizabeth felt relieved that her husband now understood that this could happen. And soon, she saw that her worries had been right. Georgiana and Fitzwilliam both admitted the truth. Georgiana, looking very sad and ashamed, said that she knew it was wrong, but she just could not love Fitzwilliam in that way. She had wanted to say something before, but was too afraid that her brother and aunt would be angry. Fitzwilliam also admitted that he had feared for a long time that he could not make Georgiana happy, but he did not want to hurt her by breaking the engagement. He was also afraid that people would talk badly about her if he ended it. Elizabeth had a hard job. She had to help both Georgiana and Fitzwilliam feel better. She also had to convince her husband that breaking the engagement was the right decision. At the same time, she had to protect Georgiana from any trouble. But after a few days, everything was done, except for the things that only time could heal. Darcy was still sad and disappointed. He felt that Georgiana should have known her feelings before agreeing to the engagement. He believed that if she had really loved Fitzwilliam, they would have had a happy marriage. Fitzwilliam, of course, could not argue against that. But Fitzwilliam kept saying that Georgiana did not deserve any blame. He also tried to take Darcy's attention away from the situation. It was decided that Fitzwilliam would still go with the Darcys to Bath, where they would meet Lady Catherine. At the same time, Georgiana was invited to stay with Jane and Mr. Bingley. Elizabeth had quietly suggested this, and they warmly welcomed Georgiana to their home in another part of Derbyshire.